Welcome to today's lecture on the theme of rejection, a topic that bridges ancient philosophy and modern psychology. To explore this, we'll begin by discussing a fascinating anecdote from the life of Diogenes of Sinope, a Greek Cynic philosopher, whose approach to life offers us profound insights into how we can overcome the fear of rejection. Diogenes famously lived in poverty, choosing to sleep in public spaces and beg for food as part of his philosophical practice. One day, Diogenes was seen begging in front of a statue, and when asked why he was begging from something inanimate, he simply replied, "To get practice in being refused." This simple yet profound response illustrates Diogenes' commitment to desensitizing himself to rejection. For a beggar, being denied food is a constant possibility, and while the experience may be painful, it is necessary to face it in order to survive. Diogenes recognized that if he could train himself to become indifferent to rejection, he would have no problem asking others for food. If someone refused, it wouldn't impact him emotionally. This principle applies not only to begging, but to various situations where fear of rejection limits us. Many of us today avoid situations where rejection is a possibility. We fear the discomfort it brings, which leads us to bypass opportunities such as applying for ambitious jobs, asking out a romantic interest, or even reaching out to friends. But what exactly do we fear in these moments of potential rejection? Is it merely the disapproval of others? Or is it the deeper, more personal fear of inadequacy? Human beings are social creatures. We crave connection, belonging, and acceptance. From an early age, we encounter these dynamics. Think back to the playground where the children decided who was good enough to join their game, or the lunchroom where the popular kids determined who could sit with them. As adults, this process continues in professional, social, and even romantic contexts. Others judge whether we're fit for a job, a relationship, or a social circle. This brings us to a key conclusion. Rejection is an inevitable part of life if we are seeking approval from others. When considering rejection, it's important to understand that it is not always rooted in logic. In some cases, rejection is based on reasonable grounds, such as when someone with no relevant qualifications applies to become the CEO of a major company, or a person without physical capabilities seeks to join a professional sports team. However, many rejections we face in life can seem arbitrary, such as being turned down based on appearance, style, or superficial preferences. Despite this irrationality, the pain of rejection can feel deeply personal, leading us to question our self-worth. Arthur Schopenhauer, the German philosopher, gives us a useful perspective on this. He argued that we place too much value on the opinions of others. Schopenhauer believed that most people's thoughts are superficial and error-prone. He pointed out that even the greatest minds could be belittled by the ignorant, and so to invest great importance in what others think is to pay them too much honor. According to this view, the sting of rejection is often a reflection of how much we allow others' judgments to control us. Now, let's turn to Stoicism for a moment. Stoicism teaches that suffering from rejection is the result of desiring something outside of our control. According to the Stoic philosopher Epictetus, we should aim to desire things as they are, rather than how we want them to be. If we approach situations with no specific expectations, we neutralize the disappointment that comes with rejection. For instance, if someone approaches another person with no desire for a particular outcome, such as a romantic relationship, then they are unaffected if the interaction does not go as planned. This mindset is captured in the Stoic concept of Amor Fati, or the love of fate. By embracing whatever outcome occurs, we eliminate the fear of rejection because we are no longer attached to a particular result. Rejection, viewed through this lens, is not something to be feared, but something to be welcomed. It becomes an opportunity to exercise control over our own actions and not to let external events dictate our emotional state. Beyond Stoicism, Taoist philosophy offers another rich perspective. In the ancient Taoist text Zhuangzi, there is a story of a large crooked tree that no carpenter wanted to cut down because it was deemed useless. However, the tree's so-called uselessness allowed it to grow old and remain untouched. As Zhuangzi explains, the tree's rejection by the loggers became its salvation. This story suggests that what appears to be rejection can, in fact, be a blessing in disguise. Rejection may serve to steer us away from paths that would lead to greater suffering or misfortune. For example, consider a person who is rejected for a job simply because they don't fit in with the company's culture. While initially hurtful, this rejection might save them from years of frustration in an environment where they wouldn't thrive. Or imagine someone being rejected by a romantic partner based on superficial reasons, such as appearance. While painful, this rejection may spare them from an unfulfilling relationship with someone who doesn't value them for who they are. This brings us to a critical insight. Rejection is often a redirection. It may signal that we are meant for a different path, one that is more suited to our unique qualities and strengths. Like the crooked tree in Zhuangzi, which found longevity in its difference, we too can find our way to a more fulfilling and sustainable life path when we embrace rejection rather than resist it. To conclude, the experience of rejection can be painful, but it also holds the potential to teach us valuable lessons. Whether we draw from the cynicism of Diogenes, the Stoicism of Epictetus, the skepticism of Schopenhauer, or the wisdom of Taoism, we see that rejection is not something to be feared, but something that can be accepted, even embraced. By adjusting our perspectives, we can learn to face rejection with resilience, understanding that it does not define our worth, but instead helps us discover where we truly belong. Thank you for your attention today.